Hey everybody, this is Reba Hass with Team Reba and the show Open House with Team Reba. Going solo today because Eric and I had competing done this later on. He may post something on his own. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do, but in the meantime, I am home inspection in Linwood, Washington. Need a home new construction because stuff goes wrong. It's get installed improperly. Worth having a second set of eyes by what they're looking for. If you've ever owned a home or home before, in the world would you know if what the you is? We still recommend to the clients that we work with that they have a professional home inspection done. And what is also very useful when you're working with a real estate professional like myself, you can be represented in new construction purchases. And it's important to do so because in this particular instance for this client, we were able to help give guidance around situations that had to do with financing. We were giving a second set of eyes on things that had to do with the upgrade and options packages for the property. We also, of course, made the recommendation of having a home, which right now I think because the construction was shut down for several months due to coronavirus. So you want to make sure that things are being taken care of correctly. We had just a couple of years ago a client who was buying in the Linwood area and it was new construction, and we found in that instance, because it was a winter where we had very heavy rainfall, we ended up backing out of that transaction because they found during the home inspection, because let me tell you what, a builder doesn't take you into the attic when you're doing a builder walkthrough, and during the home inspection we discovered large amounts of mold in that situation because the site had sat during the wet season and had not been dried out properly, and there was an active mold infestation across a 4-unit construction site. And so that was very problematic, and our client at that time was going to be purchasing for investment, and the last thing you want to have is a reason for a tenant to sue you because you knew going into it that you had a problem. So that was an instance where we really looked out for the best interest of the client, and that's exactly what your representation should be doing for you. The other thing is that, when we're going through something like this, a lot of the townhomes are in HOAs or homeowners associations. So even though we're not required by law to necessarily be experts in that, it does help, again, to have somebody who's got a lot of experience to review some of those documents with you and help point out maybe where you need to get more clarification from either the builder or the documents or maybe the attorney who does things, because oftentimes to understand they are going to impact you and your life throughout the entire time that you own the property. So anyway, just a couple of tips for you there. One of the other things I also wanted to bring up, and I'm going to on my Facebook page after I'm done doing this live event. Hi Alpha, hi Rod. Thanks for watching. They're starting to get some stats out right now about the expectations of what's happening in the rental market. And of course, what happens in the rental market locally impacts us as the residential sales kind of organizations. Because if you are a landlord, right now we're of course in the top 20 different large metro areas of the United States. And right now I think we're 15th in the rankings of the number of renters who are expecting, based on a survey, Seattle Times just came out with this, they're expecting upwards of 18% of renters to not be able to make their rent payments for July. So that's significant. We have, over the last couple of years, as many of you have heard me talk about either on my radio show and podcast or here on a Facebook Live and in other postings, City of Seattle has had a lot of issues with some of the city council and the restrictions that they've been putting on landlords. And a lot of the small complexes, duplex to fourplex, even we're seeing a lot of times even up to like 20 unit buildings. Those owners are saying, screw you, Seattle, I'm out of here. And what's happening is it's having the wrong effect, because they typically, those are landlords who've owned those properties for a really long time. And so they're able to provide lower cost housing for people in the rental markets. And when we have, issues like going on in the city of Seattle coming up, and it's making it very onerous on a landlord. Of course, we also know that there's an eviction moratorium that's been extended beyond the June original timeline. I believe it's out to August right now. This is really going to impact those landlords, whether you have a mortgage or not, because a lot of the people who might have those properties, that was their livelihood. So it's no different than as another small business owner being decimated by losing their income. So we're watching it really close to see what ends up happening. It might end up of the small multifamily market, but here's the problem. Points for all of those in the city of Seattle. South Seattle primarily see for at 650 and going to 950, depending on the market area. About a 750 again, right? So if it's a old style Craftsman that was converted, or whatever. But we're seeing a lot of these different changes happening right now, and anyone who's buying these places, not going to keep those. You can't buy a 1.2 million duplex or even begin to think will take $1,000 in rent per unit. It's just not, the financials don't work for it. So anyway, we're keeping an eye on it. We'll see how it starts to impact the marketplace. In the meantime, though, because interest rates continue to be so super low, we're still seeing large numbers of transactions going into pending status. I checked just before Facebook Live. We're just shy for a 7-day average or I shouldn't say average. It's for the as a total, just under 3,800 new pending transactions, and we have about 1,800 new listings. So again, buyers are still outpacing the number of listings coming on, which is why we still the market is still seeing fast, under contract and or multiple offer situations. So just be aware. Looking for someone who can give you. I will give an example of why it's really, really important to make sure that you have your pre-approval in advance. We have a gorgeous house over in Port Orchard that we have listed for a client. And so we're going to have a virtual open house because we still in public, so I can do a virtual kind of like this, which I will be doing this weekend. Here's a great example. Please go get pre-approved in advance. My team following up with all the people who've been looking at this property, and a guy who absolutely loves it. Get pre-approved. Maybe, and what that payment might look like, because he was probably using an online calculator and not actually the entire situation, and he can't afford it. So I'm following up with his agent, and shame on his agent too. I was like, what were you doing? And she's like, well, he saw it online and then he wanted to see it, and then we sent him to the bank, and sure enough, the price point that our clients have. Well, that doesn't mean they need to sell him for less just because he can't qualify or payment. But it's too bad for him. That this is what we warn our clients about: is don't go do the shopping ahead of time. You're going to fall in love with something that you can't buy, and then all you're going to be is disappointed. So that's exactly the situation. So I've got someone who's shown a property. I've got a client who's of anyone and everyone who goes to see their, might be the buyer, but now I've got this guy who's not even fully qualified to be able to do it. So it's a lot of a waste of time for a lot of people, namely the buyer and the seller. So, and again, his agent should have had that verified before she even took him there. But it is what it is at this point. I hate that phrase, but what applies right now. And, but anyway, I'll be out there this weekend so you guys can get a inside. We do have a 3D tour of this beautiful home available as well. So out social media. And if you have any other questions or finance answer for you for my own information, you can reach out to me at Reba@teamreba.com. That's REBA. And then my phone is 206-910-3429. And then Eric, he's, like I said, he's not on today because he's got another appointment going on, but Eric Osnes over at Homebridge Financial, he is at ericismybanker.com. That's ERIC. And his number is 206-915-42. And just for grins, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little bit about this location where I'm at. I'm not going to go through the whole house. The inspector's upstairs. So you see all my junk up here because I'm working while I'm doing all of this. But this is LTE is the builder here, and great townhouse with a lot of good features. They've got some really fun backsplash and a very different kind of design with the whole kind of pentagon, white cabinetry, the very popular great and this is a 4-bedroom, 2.5. I mean, it's a great setup. Got a nice. It's well laid out, and this one even has a 2-car garage. So, and of course, a couple of these different mini heat and cooling for it. So anyway, we're here checking everything out. Tons of great light. This particular development, 14 degrees that they're working on right now, 2 of the homes are backing up to green space, and in fact, my client's getting the benefit of its won't be built on. So have a lot of privacy on that back room, and this is also a great. This is a where it's a couple sisters and a nephew who's an adult, and I love this layout. They've got multiple bedrooms upstairs with separate baths, good closet space, walk-in closets, laundry's up there, but it's split where not only do you have the 2-car garage in the front, but there's a full kind of like living space, bedroom, and bath on the first floor, which you don't always see in townhomes. So really spacious. So one sister's going to be there. They'll have the shared main space, like where I'm standing right now. And then one sister and the nephew will have the upstairs where he's going to have extra spaces for his, kind of, media space and things like that. He loves to do art. And then